Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now, the ES trading within a very narrow range here ahead of the CPI data due to come out here shortly. CPI data could give us a very big high range day, perhaps even an outside day scenario. Right now, we have a very bullish trend that is developed here in the short term. We are now bumping up against big time medium term resistance. So got to watch the edges here. How does price respond if we trade above the previous highs? As of right now, the previous highs have been rejected, at least initially back into the range, but again, very narrow range ahead of CPI data. If we do see an outside rejection here, perhaps 44.50 could be a rejection point, and we could be looking at a return back down within the range. Maybe even back toward 43.50 here later today. So there could be an outside day down, back within the range. If this bullish short-term trend remains intact, then a failed new low outside day up could be in play as well. So again, watching to see how this develops early in the day, but a range of 60 to 80 points could be in play here later today. If we take a look here at the NQ, also compression here ahead of the RTH open and ahead of inflation data. Very narrow range here. Again, the expectation here has been that this market has been very strong in the short term and look to continue to buy dips until proven otherwise or until we reach an edge. And the edge is coming into play here very shortly at 15,561. So that's the edge right there of this key range. You have the key range high, you have the key range midpoint here, and you have the key range low, and you can see how this market is played off of those levels. Bouncing first off the 50%, rallying back above the bottom of the range, back to the middle, bouncing off the middle, and approaching the top. So again, watch this edge here very closely. Last time there was a reaction back down against the range. So if we see a big rejection here, that could mean a return back into the range and across the range. But again, this market has been very strong in the short term. Which way do we go first? Do we drop first and find rejection, which could open up more strength ahead? Do we pop and find a rejection and a strong high? If we find a strong high this morning, could be looking down within the range. And today's range, somewhere around 350 to 400 points of range, could be in play later today. Looking at crude oil, here's a look at crude. You'll notice with crude been trending down. We were looking for crude to have a thrust reversal sell signal develop today, and that's what's happening at the moment. Still very short term, but the idea was after this bounce in this down move on this strength here, was it similar to this day and we were going to get a failed high with a downside move? Is it similar to this day again where the next day drops downward? So after this little 2-day bounce, in a downtrending PIMA market environment here, do we see a failure of prices above the high and work our way back into the previous session's range, back to the midpoint, maybe down below it? That could be in place. So again, watch very closely here. 78, 75, that zone at the moment showing some initial reaction there, but still a very narrow range day. Could still go either way here, but watching to see how this plays out in a downtrending market. You ideally want to reject the high and turn it back down. If prices can push through that high, you open up the next return back toward 84. Looking at gold now, gold is about flat on the day at the moment. Very narrow doji-like day as well. 23% of average range right now for gold, and it continues to trade right at the center of this wider range. The 1950 level, big time level right here, you can see 1950, that's right where we are, 1950.4. That was kind of the apex of this compression right here before we dropped, then rallied, then came back to it. So are we going to be stuck in this area for a little while, especially with a flat VWAP there? Year-to-date VWAP here is flat for the last 5 or 6 months or more, and we could continue to see some range-bound action there. So right now, a lot of movement for gold here, back and forth, but still right back at that center 1950 level where it's been happily trading. If we take a look here, lastly, at the YM. The YM also with a narrow range of price action today, 24% of ADR compression here at the highs of the recent up move. Very bullish trend here. Very bullish trend. Once you got to this point right here, though, it's been an expanding range back and forth. Is this a spot where we come back down within the expanding range here later today? Looking at a move that could take us somewhere between 500 and 600 points of range today. 500, 600 points. 600 points has been kind of the limit lately for high range days. This one was a little bit bigger than that, but for the most part, these high range days have been about 600. So 500 to 600 points of range today. Say we reject off the 34.5, minus 5 gets you to 34K. Right there, back within the range, nice and easy. Drop a little bit more, and you're at 33.9, which is basically this low. So that could easily be a drop within range. If it's going to be a bullish move, you ideally want to drop and show rejection, especially off the 2 and at prices below the low. That could open up an upside continuation and a surprise continuation of this big rally here up ahead. So looking for expansion potential. 500 to 600 points of range on the high end for the YM after CPI data and the rest of the session. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out here heading into the rest of the day. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.